Guys, coming to you from the world-famous Stubbs Cycles in beautiful Houston, Texas. And what took you so long? Guys, this is a 2025 GSXR 750. Oh my goodness, I finally get reunited with my old best friend. So please forgive my enthusiasm and my bias, but guys, this is a homecoming for me. I've spent so much time, put so many miles on GSXR 750s over the years, and to me it just doesn't get much better than this when it comes to just being the best sport bike that you can be. No frills, no add-ons, just an awesome motorcycle. Oh, let's get her fired up. Guys, straight away, technology? Nah. Riding modes? That's your riding mode. Guys, this is the purest form of sport bike, and in its now 40th year, all the way back in 1985, the GSXR 750 was released. This is the latest iteration. Guys, they don't make a whole lot of updates to these bikes because I don't know that you need to. Oh, that induction noise. Okay, without any further gushing, let's get her out on the road and see what she's like to ride. And before I get too far down the road, I've got to send a huge thanks and a huge shout out to Hunter, Tommy, and the rest of the crew over at Stubbs Cycles for allowing me to bring you this motorcycle. And already I am feeling right at home. I gotta say, this may be the best. Oh my goodness, nothing has changed. The love, the feeling, the magic is still there. So guys, GSXR 750 has been beloved since its release now 40 years ago. Many folks will say that it is the best balance between power, usable power, and streetability of any of the sport bikes. And I gotta tell you, I can't argue with any of those points. As far as suspension goes, Showa big piston forks, everything adjustable as you would expect. The ride is not really super stiff, fairly compliant actually, just kind of buzzing down the road here. Oh, that induction noise to go along with a very comfortable seating position. Oh, these still intrusive thoughts. So guys, this is the motorcycle that I have the most experience with. Living in Northern California, up in the mountains over off of PCH, at Thunder Hill Raceway, this is the bike that I would have been found on. And so for me, it truly is being reintroduced to an old best friend. So allow me a little bit of an indulgence if I seem a little bit gushy or a little bit giddy. It's kind of like if you were to have been reunited with an old friend of yours. A friend that, well, maybe you guys used to bail each other out of jail. That's what this bike represents to me. So getting back to it, look, technology, not so much. In fact, I don't know that much has been changed in the matter of technology other than fuel injection and a steering stabilizer from 40 years ago. This motorcycle is still very analog in its approach. As you can see, analog tach, LCD speedometer, no ride modes, no quick shifter, nothing along those lines. Just you and the bike just as it was 40 years ago. Throttle responses, so good. No quick shifter. You are the quick shifter. You are the blipper on downshifts. I'm hoping that this induction noise is coming through on video. It's so addictive. And I gotta say, guys, there's something just so purposeful about this motorcycle. Because it has no technology, nothing to distract you. Oh, and she feels just like she did so many years ago. Oh, what a great bike, guys. Effortless acceleration. And cruising down the highway, you know, these 4-cylinder power plants, you don't really associate them with high torque production. But I got to tell you, it's got gearing. And if you don't got torque, you got plenty of gear to go along. And just buzzing along here at highway speeds, let's get her up into 6th gear. Nice and smooth. It's really more compliant than what you might have initially thought it would be. Little bumps in the road absolutely get soaked up by this Showa suspension. But here we're cruising along at highway speeds. We're just going to roll into the throttle in 6th gear. Yeah, she's got plenty of pickup without having to downshift. No doubt about that. As far as the seating position, it's not overly committed. Matter of fact, it's a little bit less committed than some sport naked bikes that I've ridden. The reach to the bars, very manageable. There's not a big stretch. Of the sport bikes that I've ridden, including my GSXR 1000, I gotta say, this one may be the most compliant. It might be the most comfortable. And just telepathic as we're cruising down the highway here. You just look in the direction you want to go, and she just slides into position. The suspension really is well sorted on this bike. That was a fairly large expansion joint in the freeway back there, and she just soaked it right up. And with the 750's power plant making roughly 145 horsepower in a frame as small as it is, you know, this motorcycle only weighs about 420 pounds full of fluids. So lightweight, a shorter wheelbase, as you would expect. It's dimensionally identical to the 600. So she's very flickable. That 180 section width rear tire, she just wants to fall right into place on bends. Oh. And that induction noise, I'm hoping this is coming through. I'm going to wear that point out, I think, on this bike. But it is so... I love it. It adds to the theater of this bike as though you need any more. What a fun experience to get an opportunity to reunite with this motorcycle. And it kind of gets me to thinking a little bit. You know, the GSXR 750 has remained more or less alone as a 750cc sport bike, bridging the gap between a 600 flickability and a 1000 power point. And when you consider that 40 years later, this motorcycle's making nearly double the horsepower of the first bike that came out, how far it has come. But yet you still get the analog gauges. You still get the very analog, old school riding experience. You know, from a retro point of view, this may be the most retro motorcycle being produced. Certainly the most retro sport bike. But that kind of begs the question, do you need any more than this? You know, with so many of these newer sort of super sports coming out, can they compare with the GSXR 750 in terms of a value proposition? How much power to weight ratio is your dollar truly buying with some of those other bikes? Well, I gotta tell you, I don't know that you can beat this. And again, 140 odd horsepower, 420 pound wet weight. And plenty of roll-on power. Sorry guys. I can't see that motorcycle, whichever one you would imagine right now, being a better value than this. I'm looking at you, R9. There is just simply no way that you can compete. The beauty of this bike, people say it needs to be updated. I say the beauty of it is that it hasn't changed a bit. Still extremely placeable, extremely analog, very flickable, as we just got through dodging some parts of a pallet back there. But getting back to the point I was trying to make. So this is the motorcycle that the others have got to beat to be the king of a middleweight class. And the GSXR 750, well, think of what you're getting. So much more power, plenty of usable power for the street, mind you, but significantly more horsepower, significantly more top-end rush. And you get that awesome induction noise. You get the ergonomics of this machine though, and that to me is just the beginnings of the recipe of a bike that is going to be very difficult to beat, especially when you consider one key point. This motorcycle checks in at $13,150 MSRP. That's a lot of value when you're looking at it from the performance point of view. With the old school-ish type of ergonomics, my feet aren't very tucked up. It's not overly committed. And again, I'm just gonna, oh, I love it, that just the theater of that induction noise to come along with you for the ride. It sounds so good even on blip downshifts. Oh, guys, you know, for those that would say that it needs a TFT screen or that it needs a quick shifter or what have you, yeah, I guess bringing this motorcycle up to date in those respects might be a pretty decent play. But everything else, the feel, the ergonomics, the power delivery, the sound of the thing, please do not change that. Just keep what we have here. You know, I gotta say it like this. This motorcycle has evolved into this by giving you everything you need, nothing that you don't, and being absolutely perfect in its execution of being the quintessential middleweight sport bike. And I gotta say, you do still get all of the benefits that you got back in the day. The flickability of a 600, the top end rush and outright horsepower of a much larger motorcycle. I mean, again, remember, 150 horsepower out of this machine. I mean, there's a lot of sport nakeds that struggle to make those types of numbers. But the feel, the way that this bike gets down the road is so good. There's a reason why it's never been changed, guys. It's just this good to ride. I'll even go out on a limb and say this. If you're thinking about upgrading from, say, a 600, or let's say you've got a GSX-8R and you're looking at maybe bumping up into a leader bike, you're going to want to look at this one first. You get all of the throttle response, all of the partial throttle hit that you might be used to, but you get almost double the horsepower. God, this bike, so many awesome memories. So very grateful again to Hunter, Tommy, and the crew over at Stubbs Cycles for allowing me the opportunity to bring this bike to you today, this reunion of an old friend. Oh man, and looking so good in gray and black. Guys, get over here to Stubbs Cycles, grab the keys to this thing, take her for a spin. 40 years on, this bike is better than ever. And with that, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for stopping by. We'll catch you on the next one.